Beauty, content.
The day that I just changed my advertorial. So I went from trying to sell like features and benefits, which I think most people are trying to do online, which is trying to sell so for example, I was at the time doing student debt relief, and I was trying to sell the low interest APR and consolidate your student loans, and it just wasn't converting. I wasn't making any money. And it wasn't until I wrote an advertorial that was completely different, very counterintuitive, where I actually didn't focus anything on the actual program itself. So I wasn't selling the program. I was selling the emotions that person felt before they were entering the program. And that was the big aha moment for me. That was the big breakthrough, because I realized marketing isn't really selling the product itself. It's selling the emotion. It's relating to that person on an emotional level. Well, I used to sell cars a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And I remember that there's this top sales guy. This guy looked barely worked. He was making like $200,000 a year. It's like everyone loved this guy. Every time I saw him, he just looked like he was barely working. And I asked him, he said, what's your secret to your success? And he said, well, the problem is that everyone is selling the car. And if you're selling a car, you're not going to ever sell the car. Most people are trying to sell the safety features, the seatbelt, the crash rating, the engine speed, the torque, or whatever, versus selling the reason why the emotional reason why they're buying the car.
Maybe so it's like let me just use an analogy. It's like how lots of computers try to sell the processing power,
Right.
Then everybody's looking for the cheapest computer, yet Apple sells the coolness factor. They sell the benefits. You're going to be seen as cool by your friends, and they're able to mark up their products over double of what normal computers sell for, and it's the same shit.
Absolutely. And I was actually, I'm going to bring Apple up, and that's a great point, because Apple is actually, they're a marketing company. People think they're a tech company. They're actually a marketing company. They haven't introduced anything new to the marketplace. The iPad was around for a decade. Microsoft had it around a decade.
Yeah.
So was the iPod. I mean, you could, at the time the iPod came out for $100, you could buy one for $20 at Rite Aid, an MP3 player. So what they were very good at, and what they still are, is at marketing the emotions, the feelings of the product. I think one of the most successful campaign was that campaign where they're holding the iPhone and they're dancing, and you just see the silhouette. And
That's so cool. Yeah.
And they're not selling the product. Not once are they saying you're going to get the fastest processor, you're going to get the whatever. They're just selling the experience, the emotions they're going to feel when they're listening to the music.
Yeah.
And so when I finally switched over to, okay, how do I relate to these people on an emotional level? That was not only very counterintuitive, because when you think about selling something, you think about selling a product versus speaking to somebody at deepest emotions. I mean, that's just not something that I feel like most people are taught in sales. They're always like, sell the features and benefits. Get to know, become a friend with them and sell the features and benefits. And it really isn't that. I think that it's absolutely wrong, actually. And I'm going to go through, actually.
Okay.
Let me pull up.
Okay, so guys, without further ado, I just started the recording. We're going to talk about, how he makes $2,000 plus a day writing non-salesy blog posts in weird niches. So let me bring up his thing. Yeah, sell the sizzle, not the steak. So
how to tap into the deepest emotions. So fear, ego, frustrations, dialogue, hope, and happiness. Those are really the key points that are super important when I put together an advertorial. First and foremost, it's fear, ego, and frustration. Those are the three things that I really hone in on. Okay? What are my prospects afraid of? What keeps them up at night, right? So for student debt, I put in, it keeps me up at night that I know that I can't save for my future. I can't save for my children. It keeps me up at night knowing that my parents co-signed for my loan, and now they're worried about their retirement. So I'm hitting every single one of those statements. For somebody that's suffering with that, when they read that sentence, they're going to feel something in their stomach. I've literally had people comment on my ad saying, I cried when I read your ad, when I read that article, because it hits so close to home.
Dude, that means that's insane.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Cried.
You
made people cry with your advertorials.
And I'll listen to some of the calls, and they're crying. They call up crying because they're like, I've never seen an article that related so well with what I'm feeling. I didn't know so many other people felt this way, right? So their fear is such a powerful driving emotion. In fact, I don't know the exact, and I'm paraphrasing, but they just did this study a couple years ago on products, and you're going to sell 2 times more products selling something that's a solution to a pain point than selling a pleasure. So, for example, like you're going to sell more diet pills than you're going to sell Twinkies. Okay? You would think you'd sell more Twinkies, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's an immediate pleasure thing. You're going to sell more diet pills because you're solving a pain point in their life. Consumer, and you can look this up. There's actual statistics on this. Pain point products sell twice as much as pleasure products, right? So think about that. So automatically, if you're selling a pleasurable product, a product that's meant to improve their life in like a pleasurable way, you're already kind of in an uphill battle versus choosing a product that is immediately solving a very, very hard pain point in their life. So dandruff, hair loss, bone spurs. Yep. So for example, bone spurs. Most people, if I said, hey, look, dude, I'm going to sell you this ebook that's going to show you these stretches on how to prevent bone spurs, you were like, fuck off. Mm-hmm. I don't give a shit about bone spurs. Yeah. But if I find that person suffering with a bone spur, and I said, here's this ebook for $100, and it will fix your bone spurs, they're going to be like, dude, sell me 3 of them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, immediately, I have this immediate pain that needs fixing. So it's easier to sell a pain point product than it is to sell a pleasure product.
Well, I think
the ventriloquist marketing method. Okay?
That sounds good.
Yeah, so ventriloquist, is speaking in the voice, is throwing your voice. So obviously, like, I am not, like, in my addiction niche, like I wrote as if I'm a middle-aged mom. Like, I'm not a middle-aged mom with a, daughter that is addicted to drugs. Mm-hmm. However, whoever read that article would think, wow, this mom is really struggling with this problem with her drug-addicted daughter. Yeah. It's because I use the voice of my consumer or the prospect. So what I do is I visit Facebook groups or I visit forums. So I'll just even type in something, let's say, drug addiction support group.
Oh, dude, that's great.
Right? Or support forum.
Yeah, let's do.
Yes, forums are good. Right? So recovery.org forum. Actually, I saw a good one right here. Alcohol addiction, drug addiction, opiate addiction, recovery and addiction. Okay. Let's see what they're saying at these forums. Substance abuse. I can't do this alone.
Oh my God.
I have been in pain management doctors for 2 years. So what I'll do is literally just copy and paste their exact words. And what I'll do is I'll compile a bunch of them together. And you can even go to like SurveyMonkey, mm-hmm. and you can put in all the data in. And what it'll do is it has a pretty kind of AI thing. It'll pick apart the phrases that keep coming up. So the more data you feed into SurveyMonkey, mm-hmm. it'll start to pick apart these phrases that keep coming up. So it could be, I can't do this alone, and I'm worried. It could just be that phrase.
I wake up with these tremors inside of me.
Yeah.
The outside of my body does not shake, but my whole body inside shakes horrendously.
Yeah.
I get chest pains where it feels like my heart is tightening up. Uh-oh. I don't sleep anymore. In fact, I'm scared to sleep. I have nightmares and I wake. Dude, this is crazy. If anyone sees this and can relate in any shape, way, or form, please help. Dude, this is great copy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is great copy.
Steal that, guy. Yeah. If you guys are in the drug addiction, you wrote one of the best advertorials I've ever seen for.
Yeah.
So Ronnie actually he was promoting a rehab treatment center, and he wrote one of the best advertorials I've ever seen in the rehab niche, and it's scary good. You showed a before and after. So the before and after he did was a girl clutching a teddy bear. It was like it was basically selling the mothers, and if I recall, and basically you were showing, oh, she used to be such a nice little girl, and now she's like fucked up.
Yeah.
And he showed the before and after the before picture was a picture of a girl. It was like a nice 13-year-old girl or whatever, 8-year-old girl clutching a teddy bear.
Yeah.
She looked really nice and innocent, just nice, innocent, blonde, white girl clutching a teddy bear. And then you showed the after picture, and the after picture was this kind of punk teenage girl. She had her hair dyed black. She had like plugs in her ears. She had nose ring, and she had like black fingernails.
Yeah.
And she just looked angry.
It was the same girl, actually.
It was the same girl.
Same girl.
Yeah.
So, as a friend of mine, I told her I was going to use her photos. So I picked out a photo of her when she was young and cute, and this photo of her. When everyone's a teenager, they kind of go through a phase where they look like an asshole.
Yeah.
So I found the most asshole picture of her, and that was the drug-addicted photo, and the comments were priceless. They were like, how could this teddy bear clutching sweetheart go to this selfie pout-facing drug addict?
Oh my God.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So
that was so funny.
So yeah, you come over here to like and usually they have like their most popular discussion. So
sex addict. Wow.
Yeah.
Sex addiction.
The moment we all wait for.
The call to action could be call Ronnie.
I believe that love is expressed to the universe if you call it God. And it's interesting. Like these type of comments are actually gold. If you run it through like some of these software like SurveyMonkey, and like there's other ones that'll compile and kind of come up with these comments. You'll see these comments that refer to like they're like God and belief in God kind of come up, and you can use those. Say, hey, God didn't put you on this planet to be a fat fuck. You need to take these diet pills. Or whatever, So use their words, and
I feel like it works. Like it's coming up, and I've seen it a couple times in this drug addiction thing. It seems like God and drug addiction
God and
are tied together. So that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
I would have thought that if I wasn't researching it.
Yeah, so that's good. So
one of the questions we have from Mike M. Let me. Oh, dude, is it okay if I? So we're mainly gonna take questions at the end, but dude, I love doing this, dude. People, Mike, ready your mic. Dude, people, I love unmuting people. It's like my favorite thing, dude.
All right, we're gonna unmute you, Mike.
We're gonna unmute you, Mike. People freak out when I unmute them. Mike. Mike, what's going on? Mike, can you hear me? Oh, Mike, you're killing me. No one is Mike. Okay, someone's multitasking. Okay. I'm going to take another question. Mike, what's going on with multitasking here? Here, we got Scott Ripley. Scott, I hope you're not multitasking, man. Mike is watching TV on, while...
I hope you're watching the O.J. Simpson's case, because that's some good copywriting right there, man. Johnny Cochran.
Okay, Scott Ripley. Let's unmute this guy and see if he's... Scott, you've muted yourself on your side. Scott?
Hey. Hey,
Scott,
we got
a live one. Have you ever been unmuted on a webinar before?
I have, yes.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Most people don't expect it in their life.
I've never been unmuted.
Okay,
People probably wish they could mute me in real life.
So, Scott, you had a question. And first of all, where are you calling from? And where are you calling from? And maybe what's your experience as an affiliate?
Calling from Western Australia, and experience as an affiliate is, at the moment, I'm going for brain pills as my niche, Facebook and native.
Cool. So what's your question?
My question is, because I've seen Ronnie on a few of the webinars and in the course as well, and I've seen your copywriting before. I just want to know how you drive your customers to your website so that they can start reading the copy.
Native advertising and Facebook, and also I'm just now getting into YouTube and Instagram advertising, which looks extremely promising. But mainly native advertising and Facebook advertising.
Right. Okay. So an eye-catching headline and image through native, and drive to the articles that you just showed us now.
Yeah, and actually for a tip just on either of those traffic sources, image is like so important in conversion. Image is everything. So test image. That test image. Image is one of the first things that I'll immediately start swapping out, especially on Facebook. Cool?
Yeah, cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. That was cool. I love unmuting people, man.
Yeah,
it's like my
awesome.
new favorite thing.
All right. So keep a swipe file of pain points. So swipe file, I don't know if you guys have swipe files, but if you're not collecting swipe file, like start doing that like today. So swipe files, whenever you see an ad out in the wild that maybe, you just take a screenshot of it and take that advertorial, you screenshot it or put it into a Word document or whatever, the actual words, and keep a folder. And I actually will put them, into different categories like skin or brain or student debt or whatever. And so just having the swipe file, you can go through and pick it apart and look at the pain points, what other marketers are trying to hit. That's kind of a very basic, you should be doing that anyway, but also not just a swipe file of marketing, but I also keep a swipe file of magazines that my prospect is reading. So I do diabetes, and also, well, diabetes is a good one for me. So diabetes, I read a lot of these older, demographic magazine, like Reader's Digest is a good one for diabetes, because evidently a lot of Reader's Digest, readers have diabetes.
They have bad digestion.
Yeah, they have a bad case of the diabetes. But so I'll read and kind of just get to know my audience. Like, I don't read Reader's Digest, but when I was doing my diabetes research, I was reading all of these magazines that they were reading and trying to pick up on their vernacular. And you'll find that different niches have different ways of speaking. Like internet marketers, we have a different, we crush. We're always trying to crush stuff. We're trying to get these
grinding,
and we're going to rise and grind.
Conversion. Nobody knows what the fuck that shit is.
Yeah, and ROI, and you know what I mean? So we have our own lingo. So it's really important to find the lingo and the insider words that people in your target has, right? So, and that's keeping the swipe file, so you can just kind of look at, when you're writing it, you can look at all these files and say, okay, what are these words that keep coming up? Maybe these words that you don't recognize, or these slang that keep coming up. And slang is really important when speaking, because then they read that slang and they're like, oh, this person gets me.
Yeah.
If you see an article, it says how to get epic EPCs for high ROI.
I'd be like, cool.
Oh, we're probably gonna click on us. Yeah. Any other person's gonna look at it like, I don't know what the fuck that even means.
Yeah.
So the more you speak in their lingo and their vernacular, the better it's gonna do.
Remember to know thyself and pay no attention to the opinions of sheep.
We live today in a golden age. This is an era that man has looked forward to, dreamed of, and worked toward for thousands of years. But since it's here, we pretty well take it for granted. For 20 years, I looked for the key which would determine what would happen to a human being. Was there a key I wanted to know which would make the future a promise that we could foretell to a large extent? Was there a key that would guarantee a person's becoming successful if he only knew about it and knew how to use it? Well, there is such a key, and I found it.